so you really don't hear about wedges and forgiveness in the same sentence. But we believe that's a really big part of wedge play. So we distributed the mass so that you get more consistent results. Sometimes you hit the ball right here perfect, but sometimes it's sitting up and you hit it a little high, or maybe you miss it a little toward the toe, a little to the heel. We don't think a recreational golfer should be penalized by missing the sweet spot by 3/8 of an inch or even a half an inch. So we've got the most consistent transfer of energy as you miss the ball in different places around the face. That translates to consistency in your game, consistency in your launch angle, your distance control, and your spin.
You know, the USGA has its little fingers in everything. Standing water in a bunker, 16A is the rule. What do you do with it? Ground under repair. What do you do when a deer's rutted up the fairway and the superintendent's put... there's rules for everything, and there should be with the USGA. But much to my surprise, I never knew that wedges were highly regulated by the USGA too. Look, I'm not a rules geek, I'm not a USGA handbook freak, but yeah, wedges are highly regulated by the USGA. My game as a hacker is not the same as Phil Mickelson, one of the greatest wedge players ever, whether it be from a bunker, whether it be from 20 yards out, whether it be from whatever Phil's playing from, or any of the great. Hogan was a great wedge player. The point being is science, and a guy named Terry Kohler with Edison wedges figured out that most pro golfers, well, they hit it right here on like the middle of the grooves in a very low impact area, just the grooves, which are regulated by the USGA. Terry Kohler has spent his life passion. Look, maybe you glue planes together and that's your passion. Terry's passion is the wedge, creating the world's greatest wedge. Hence, like Thomas Edison, the Edison wedge. Kohler has spent a lifetime figuring out grind, grooves, bounces on wedges, and he's custom fit in his own Thomas and Edison crazy lab of his own some of the very best wedges in the game. Now look, I know that's a big statement, okay? Every club manufacturer makes wedges. I got one out of China a couple of years ago they sent to me. It had holes in there so you could cut through the sand. Didn't meet USGA specs and was hooey and phooey, but they were trying to sell them. These are craftsmanship. Edison wedges are the finest wedges out there that I've played for a while. The whole idea with the soul, cutting through the sand, cutting through the grass. Edison wedges.
So as I look at the wedge category for 30 years, and I see company after company after company tout about how their wedges are tour approved and how the tour players love them, what I've learned is that tour players have skills and talents with their wedges the rest of us can't even think about approaching. And they develop those skills through thousands of hours of practice, learning how to hit hundreds of different kinds of shots. And they'll actually hit the ball a little over here to make the ball do different things. The rest of us are just trying to hit it somewhere on the face, and we'd like it to do the same thing all the time. You know, I looked at the 50,000 fitting profiles I've analyzed. I look at the hundreds of demo day interviews and listen to what golfers have told me, and they keep coming back to the same thing. I hit the ball too high, I can't get the spin I want, and my distance control is lousy. And I went through wedge after wedge on the Iron Byron swing robot, and I've learned no wonder you have those problems. They're built into your wedges. The wedges designed for tour players, the tour player uses those inefficiencies to their advantage. The rest of us suffer by those inefficiencies. So I just said, let's go take the wedge down and tear it apart and build it for the recreational player who just wants it to go 95 yards every time or 110 yards every time. So we rearranged the weighting on the back of the golf club dramatically different, not just to look different, but for functionality. And we equalized the smash factor on the wedge, the efficiency of impact, if you will. So when you miss it high in the face, it doesn't come up short. When you miss it out on the toe, it doesn't come up short. And then we paired that with a sole design that can handle the soft turf, the firm turf, the light fluffy sand, the wet sand, because you don't know what you're going to run into on the golf course.